What's going on, guys? YouTube Live, and we're going to be an Election Day special, I guess. And unfortunately, Robbie thought that we weren't doing YouTube Live today, so he just texted me and said, "Oh, I didn't know we were doing it." So here I am, all alone, going alone. Great to have you guys with us, and I hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a great week, and we're just going to have some fun today, I think. There's nothing else to do except sit and wait. So I hope you have voted. I hear the election polls, the election lines for voting lines are crazy. We're going today at 2 o'clock. And just think that there's a lot of indecision into who is possibly going to win. A lot of people have ideas, but who knows? We're going to find out. Hopefully we'll find out sooner than later, but I do hope that you have exercised your right to vote regardless. That is our number one thing. That's our voice. That's how we that's how we have a say. And it's really important that we do. If for some reason you just haven't and you're not really planning to, I urge you to go. So anyway, it's going to be a little different today, obviously with Robbie not here, but I talk all the time. So this is not going to be a big deal. I do want to make a big announcement, and this is something that I found out yesterday. Nate at Gun Zone Deals sent me a text. He says they have Tula 7.62 by 3.9 for $310 per thousand. That is a great price. I even went on AmmoSeek, and I think the cheapest was 31 cents a round, but this is, 32 cents a round. This is 31 cents a round, and he has quite a bit. So I would urge you, though, not to delay because I am putting this out there. But we will have a link over at Facebook, and you can run over there real quick. And if you want, and go ahead and order you a case or two or three. I think he has quite a bit. I'll just put it that way. But it's just great to see some ammo available. And really, I know many of you, I have seen it popping up in different places here and there. The big ones that have been missing have been the 7.62 and also 5.56, 2.23, and 9mm. It's been pretty much, and then a lot of other calibers. But those are the ones that are notably just out. And so, but I went to my local gun shop the other day and found that he had about 500 rounds of 9mm, which I was really surprised. And I didn't touch it. I left it on the shelf because I wanted other people to be able to get it. Same thing with this ammo. And so we really do appreciate Gun Zone Deals. They're great. Nate will send guns for me to do reviews, and we really do appreciate it. So, and I told him when he got in touch with me, I said, man, this is a great resource. I'd love to get the word out, and I'm doing YouTube Live, and let's get the word out. So 7.62 by 3.9 Tula. I believe it's 122 grain. Comes in the 10,000 rounds, $310. That's just a good price for this apocalyptic 2020. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about some things. First off, guys, there's a lot of debate in the gun community. A lot of debate about Biden, Trump. Here's the thing, guys. We got two choices. Got 1 and 2. That's it. There's a couple of other choices out there, and Kanye West is one of them. But really, when it comes down to it, as far as chances to win, we got two options. And a lot of people have been down on Trump. We've talked about this with the bump stock ban and a mentioning of red flag laws and but nothing's ever come of that. Not a thing. Bump stock ban, that is still in litigation. It's still in litigation. But guys, again, when we talked about this last week, you want to find out the other side, go to joebiden.com campaign page and go to the gun section, and you will see a Second Amendment nightmare unfold right there before your eyes. So, and two, the ATF is really poised right now with a lot of things. Congress is poised. The Senate is poised. They're already starting to put bills out that can gain traction if Biden actually wins. And guys, it is absolutely a nightmare. So regardless of some of the things that Trump has done that we have not appreciated, if you are a Second Amendment supporter and you really want to hold on to your AR-15, or you want to hold on to your Glock 15-round magazine or 17-round magazine and not have to register it. I'm telling you guys, there's only one choice, and it is what it is. And so, you can do what you do, but I'm just telling you that. Also, here in South Carolina, if you have not voted yet, do not vote for Bill Bledsoe. Bill Bledsoe is the constitutional candidate. He is a great guy. He would be incredible in office. I would love to see him, but he dropped out of the race back in September. And Jamie Harrison is lying and posting ads to defeat. He says Bill Bledsoe is pro-gun, pro-life, pro-Trump. He's too conservative for South Carolina, trying to get real conservatives to vote for Bill Bledsoe, who is not in the race, but he's on the ballot. That tells you right there that Jamie Harrison is a cheater, which we all know anyway. And so he seems like a really nice guy on camera. I would just like, man, that's going to be something else. But he's a liar. And so for that matter alone, I am going to be voting for Lindsey Graham. He is not my all-time favorite. He has done some things in the past, but not anything against the Second Amendment. He is one of our strongest advocates in the Senate for the Second Amendment. And so that is where my vote is going. I'll just tell you. I'm just going to tell you where it's going because the celebrities do it. I'm not going to tell you who not to vote for, but I am going to tell you who I'm voting for, and I'll tell you why I think that we should go that way. But this is a free country, and we do have the First Amendment, and other people have different ideas, and we need to let them voice their opinion. That is fine. That is A-okay. But I also have, we have our Second Amendment. We need to protect the other amendments, and the Second Amendment is what does that. Also, if you have not had if you do not have any legal protection, if you're carrying a firearm, USCCA guys, USCCA is great. I've been a member for 4 years. We'll have a link down below in the description and all that. But whatever you decide, get some kind of legal protection if you're carrying a handgun. So you have your concealed carry, and concealed carry is going through the roof all over the country. So many people are applying and getting it. And guys, you really need that legal protection. And so just make sure that you have something. But USCCA is a great organization. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of, they send out a monthly magazine that's just fantastic with a lot of tips and training tips and different products that they review. They even have, on years that don't have COVID-19, they even have they have a conference, a huge convention, and it's really big. It's really good. So just a great organization. Tim Schmidt up there is fantastic. He's up in Wisconsin. And so anyway, guys, great organization. Check it out. All right. So again, just because this is election day, and you guys can pop in on the comments. Now, if you're going to be ugly and rude, Sarah Max over there, she's not going to bring your question up. Some people just like to be ugly. Doesn't necessarily mean that I agree. She'll give me questions on that. But things that where you're really being just ugly, just expect not to get that answered. In fact, expect to get that removed because it's just not right. We don't want to see it. Disrespect is not going to happen. I respect all people. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're going to vote for Biden or if you voted for Obama or whatever. I'll respect you. But, that's just the thing. I mean, we have a free country. We have free speech. So, but I'm the moderator. We're the moderators here, and we can decide if you want to be really ugly. We don't have to put up with that. So get you some questions together. And if you have some ideas, if something's happened in your polling area, let me know. I'd like to see what's going on in the country. I know that the voter turnout is record numbers right now. Yes.
Jay Spence donated $4.99. Said, "You the man, Sootch. Keep up the good work."
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Donated. Well, we got our.
Yeah, I don't know how it got turned on, but apparently
okay. Well, thank you. I guess we've got our super chat turned on. Okay, so we will. Okay, what we'll do though is we're going to take that, and since I didn't realize it, I don't usually do super chat, mainly because it kind of, well, I think she's got the notification turned down, so it doesn't just ding a lot, but mainly because it does disrupt some. But what I'm going to do is I'll give this to a charitable organization. So if you want to donate, we'll give it to, I know last time we did it, the only time we've ever done it, we gave it to Meals on Wheels, and it was during the lockdowns. So Yeah, whatever you want to donate, we're going to give that away to charity. I'll make an announcement when we decide. We'll do something that can help somebody, because that's the thing that's what's important, guys. And guys, the thing is too is that we've got to stay united. Right now, there is a really strong divide in our country. It is one side or the other, and united we stand, divided we fall, and we've got to find common ground. We really do. If we're going to continue to enjoy the freedom and the liberties that we've had in the past, we've got to do it. And I don't have to agree with you. I have a lot of friends that are not necessarily my political persuasion, and that's fine, because I need that sometimes. I need to be able to, have myself open and not just bombarded with one mindset. Doesn't mean it's going to change my mind. Sometimes it actually reinforces what I think and what I believe. But it's really important to be able to kind of move that around.
DZ Wren, this is not a donation. I'll let you know if it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Sootch, good afternoon. What firearm do you have upcoming reviews for that you are excited about?
Well, I'll be honest with you. With everything that's going on, with all the guns being bought so quickly, we have not had a lot of companies that want to send T&E guns. They're selling them so fast. In fact, I usually do work with Glock. Now I buy the Glock. I buy the firearms, but they just came out with their G43X MOS. And so I called the girl and my girl Brandy, and I just said, hey, I said, I know you brought these out. So that's one that I'm doing. I got it in. I got a Glock G43X, which I'm going to be purchasing as well. I just got a USP 9mm I bought from a friend of mine, and those have been out for a long time, but a lot of times those are very popular. One thing that I am excited about, and we just haven't gotten everything finished up, but I have a 22 TCM rifle from Rock Island Armory. If you've never shot the 22 TCM, that is such an awesome little round. And so I am really excited about that one, actually. And I have a couple of pistols, and you can get the 9mm conversion barrels. So really, that's kind of what I've got coming up as far as just some cool reviews. But we're always got new things coming up as well. Yeah.
John Welburn asked, who do you recommend for concealed carry legal protection, NRA or CCA? Been looking at getting.
Well, the NRA program, they dropped it. I think there's a lot of states that are causing problems with getting some of this legal protection, and the NRA dropped their self-defense legal protection. It is not insurance, and that's where these states are coming in. It is not. What it does is it gives you attorneys, access to attorneys. They will take care of your bail for you. They'll help you even with civil and liability with criminal cases. So USCCA, I've known Tim Schmidt, and I don't really know him personally, but I've known Tim, watching him on YouTube. He was a former police officer, and before he even started USCCA, I used to watch some of his training videos. He's just a great guy. And so when he started USCCA, I really got just joined. I said, I need to be a member. Our family members are members. I think it's vital that if my daughter goes out and has to use her gun in a self-defense situation, that's the last thing I want, is for her to be, surrounded with civil and criminal charges. And so USCCA has been the best. There are some like Legal Shield, and there's some others out there. And at one time I did some research, but honestly, I found that USCCA was the best as far as well put together, as far as established, and as far as far-reaching.
Cass Adventure says, what if we live in a constitutional carry state, but we've never in our lives fired a weapon before?
I think you need to go out and shoot. I think training right now is a little difficult to get, but I trained myself originally, and then I took training later. So just going out, firing your firearm, get somebody. You can find a gun owner that a friend of yours, have him take you out. Get online and just get on YouTube and look at some, first-time shooters. I did a full safety video on how to, first-time gun buyers, how to handle your firearm. And I think one of the things is just getting out there and shooting. It's just keeping that muzzle in the right direction, keeping your finger off the trigger, But again, having someone that knows a little bit does help. But honestly, the first time my grandfather actually taught me to shoot, just playing around. But for years, I went when I first bought my handguns. I mean, it was like it was a relearning everything. But I think if you can go to an indoor range, get some instruction that way, they'll help you. There are a lot of resources out there. And again, there are training, but a lot of ranges have training classes and things like that. Get on the NRA; they have training courses on there. So there's a lot of resources out there. Utilize those resources, and it'll help you go a long way.
D texts and asks, what's more important to win, the Senate or the House?
The Senate is more important to retain because we have the Senate, we have a majority in the Senate. But if we need to at least retain one or the other or both. But if we lose both and we lose the White House, and I say we lose the White House, if we get Democrat majorities in all, then I'm telling you guys, the assault weapons ban will happen. I mean, it will happen. And it's not just the assault weapons ban. It's taking, your AR-15 and taking all your modern sporting rifles and making them into NFA items, which means that you have to have a tax stamp and you have to register those firearms and you have to pay $200 per firearm. And then you have to register each magazine and you have to send in your photo and all your credentials, your information. You have to, just like you would a full auto machine gun, you got to go through the same process. And here's the kicker, guys. It takes almost a year right now. Now, there's some variations here and there, but for a suppressor, it takes about a year to get approved. You think about that. All of a sudden, your AR-15 is an NFA item, and then you can't shoot it because it's now you're waiting for approval. You could be sitting on it for a year plus all the other bull crap that's going on around it. And your Glock magazine, this is 17 or 15 round, 33 round magazine. You're gonna have to register those. All that is on Biden's campaign website. And here's the thing, you didn't vote for Biden, but you're not gonna vote for Trump. That's really a vote for Biden.
Jose Garcia asks, Sootch, shotgun ammo for the BR-80. What ammo do you recommend?
As far now, shotguns can be finicky at times. I'm not really sure, and honestly, I mean, there's so many different shotguns out there. That sometimes really using good quality ammunition is typically the best. It's according to what you're going to use it for. If you're using it for home defense, or you're using it for hunting. For me, a good buckshot or some kind of high velocity rounds typically will run. And so really the best thing to do, and this is what I do, because when I buy a shotgun or I get a shotgun for review, I try different rounds in it to see, because sometimes your field loads won't work. They just don't seem to be able to work the action. And then sometimes, your higher velocity rounds, it's just finding that sweet spot. So with all the different rounds out there, I can't really recommend a specific, especially for that shotgun. But I just recommend taking it out. And two shot, you can have the same two shotguns, and one of them runs a little bit better than the other with certain type ammo.
Salty Sailor asks, okay, I do have a question. I've been watching you for a long time. What is your main plan for communication? Like amateur, satellite? I don't like ham because teaching my family has been a pain.
Yeah, well, honestly, ham radio is probably the best as far as, because that's what people use in in any kind of disaster type thing, any kind of disaster scenario. But you are correct. Ham can be a lot of trouble to work with. Satellite, definitely something that's typically more expensive. So really, there's not a lot of other options outside of those two that I'm aware of. I'm not a big comms guy. I do like comms, and I do think they're very important. But yes, ham radio can be a little bit of a bear in an emergency situation or a life-threatening situation. You can use ham without a license, but otherwise you've got to go get the license, and you've got to really get into the technical things with ham. And unfortunately, the two-way radios, they're just so limited, typically line of sight. I would recommend having two-way radios at least, because they're better than phones when it comes to security, especially around property. If you have a two-way radio, you can access it a lot faster with an earbud than you can your cell phone. You don't want to be relying on your cell phone, especially in a security situation, especially if you're having to really defend your place. But one thing is, as long as we can stay online, if the phone lines go down, guys, don't forget that sometimes internet is still there, and we can use WeChat or Skype or Facebook, and you can communicate with people. And so, you know, that's one thing that we've done with our prepper group is we work together on communications and using the different effective means. And we do have quite a bit of ham radio operators in our group, and so we kind of rely on that. But I do understand that it is kind of a lot. It's a lot of detail to try to pass on to someone, especially if they're not necessarily interested. To me, you really got to be interested in ham to get into it.
Howard to Cable asks, Sootch, have you heard anything about major stores boarding up over the weekend in some areas?
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm part of American Contingency, which honestly has just been deemed by, I think it was CNN, said they were some kind of militia, which is hogwash. They're not. They're an information. They put out a lot of information. They try to monitor things that are going on. And Forward Observer is one of the organizations they recommend, which does intel all over the country. I just read the report this morning, and there are BLM and Antifa organizations all over the country that are planning for post-election mayhem and chaos. I mean, they are making plans. They're talking about what they're going to do. They're learning from mistakes they've made earlier. It's just getting more and more fine-tuned. And they had the Antifa podcast, I believe, that just put out a lot of information. Guys, you need to be careful right now during the election. You need to be, especially if you live in some of the hot spots. You know, one of the things that we need to understand is sometimes, you know, the national media puts a focus around Seattle, around DC, around, you know, Chicago, around these different cities. But when you pull back out of that city, it's a small dot. It affects the country. It affects the whole, it can affect the whole country, but you know, we live in South Carolina, and we're not as affected as you would be if you were in the suburbs of Minneapolis. So if you live in those hotspot areas, you really need to be on par. You need to have your head on a swivel. You need to stay away from downtown or those areas that are prone to have those riots in. And also know, like Atlanta, Georgia right now, there's a lot of things going on, pre-plans and things going down. So you got to be careful what you're doing, where your travel plans are, what you're doing for the next week or so during this time, which I'm sure, unless there's a blowout, we're going to be waiting because, excuse me, they're going to drag this thing out as far as possible.
Orion Davis asks, do you think that whoever wins, things are going to get worse before they get better?
Well, I can't tell the future, but this is what I really believe. I believe that if Trump wins, they're going to ratchet it up and they're going to raise total hell. I think it's just going to continue to, you know, they're just going to do what they do. There's a movement. It's an anarchist movement, but it's really based on socialist ideals and principles and communism. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the Socialist Rifle Association. You can find it, Socialist Rifle Association. And they're communist. I mean, that's what they are. You can go to their website. You can look at it. They're communist. They believe in the Second Amendment. I mean, they believe in the right to bear arms for the people and the working class people and blah, 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 which is great. And I'm glad. I'm glad they're wanting to help defend the Second Amendment. And they have the right to believe however they want to. But there are a lot of groups out there that are pushing. Now, if Trump wins, they're going to be pissed, and they're going to continue to do what they're doing. If Biden wins, guys, don't expect for them to go, oh, okay, Biden won. They're not happy with that. That is not their goal, is to get Biden in office. Their goal is a leftist push for our government to become socialist. And if you really want to study how things are going to play out, look at Chile right now in South America. Chile has just actually destroyed their constitution. They voted to just eject their constitution and start over. And they're having the same kind of rioting in the streets. They're having the same kind of tactics that Antifa's doing right now and Black Lives Matter, because that's what they want. They want a socialist. So I don't think either way, whether Trump wins or Biden wins, I think we're in for a little bit of a ride for a while. I hate to be I hate to be that way because I like to be a very positive person. Excuse me, but I just think that I don't think that we need to let our guard down. I think we need to watch. Time's going to tell. Time's going to tell.
John Brown asks, it took me 5+ years to feel ready. Do you think you're ready?
No, no, I'm not ready. Yeah, I've got stuff. We got food and water, and we've got resources. We've got, but how can you be ready for something like this when it really comes down to it? Because, the thing is, we have plans, we have things we want to do to protect our family, to protect ourselves, to be good neighbors. We meet on Sunday nights. We have a prepper group. We have a really large group. I met with a large group of homeschool moms yesterday and a class. I did a survival class for this one group, about 30 kids. And then we had a huge group of concerned mothers because my wife had told me that there was a lot of people concerned. And, I met with them and we just talked about some things. And there's a lot of fear out there. I don't think we need to be afraid. I think we need to prepare ourselves and just to be ready. But no, I've been doing this for 20 years, longer than 20 years. And, there's no way to be prepared because we can't know all the different players in the game. And so, but that's not the point. Here's the thing. Everything you do, if you put food back, if you put water, make sure your water's good. If you make sure you have an alternate heat source or power source or communications are good or whatever, is a step closer just to upping your odds. And that is what I feel that is the most important. But never forget that people are your greatest asset. They don't have to be some kind of incredible handyman, or they're a plumber, or they're a nurse, or they're a fireman, or they've been in the military. Just people in general are important, and don't exclude people. But guys, even if everything was just fine, they're having possible lockdowns coming. Your grocery stores or they're going to have some supply issues. So make sure you have some food set back.
Nefajita asks, question. If you had to spend your money in the near future, what would you put your money on buying? An AR-15 for those who do not own one yet, or use the funds for training on what firearms you do have?
Well, training right now is hard to get because there's so many people filling up the classes. But I feel like that if it's important if you don't have anything. If you maybe have just a handgun, you need to at least get a shotgun. But I would recommend even more getting an AR-15. AR-15 it's America's rifle, and it's just it's easy to maintain. I'm not going to put that over the AK. The AK is a great rifle as well, and there's a lot of people that prefer that, and that's great. So either one. But I highly recommend getting something because that may not be a possibility, especially if they do an assault weapons ban. But I would recommend. Now, the problem is going to be getting ammunition. And two, that's going to be a problem when it comes to training, is getting ammunition. So, in normal times, I would say, you know what, I advise anybody to get an AR. I mean, I advise anybody because I think they're just great rifles. And of course, the U.S. military has been using them, since the 60s. And so I think it's a solid rifle to use, and training would come. I would get that first and then think about training.
Pyro Collector asks, hey, question. Do you think it is easier to carry AR mags on the belt or a chest rig option?
To me, it's either one or both. Now, to me, if I want to do something fast, if I just needed to have some extra mags, the belt is so easy, just a clunk and you're ready to go. And then, of course, you can wear your plate carrier over that and have your belt, your battle belt type situation set up with your holster, whether you want a drop leg holster, whatever. So you can use both. You can use them separate. I think in a situation to where I felt like that there's a good possibility that I might be facing multiple attackers, I would like to have a chest rig with plates. Now, as far as just carrying, but a chest rig on its own is a great option. It keeps you very mobile, keeps you quick on your feet. But that's what the belt does. So it's just a matter of style. I've trained with every one of the different ways, and it's just according to what you're going to put your time into as far as training. So U.S. military, of course, they're putting on the plate carriers. They got their mags up front. They got their setup, but that's a whole different setup or a whole different situation than what you might face, in a civilian situation, which hopefully will not be anything like, a war zone. But there's a lot of, guys, it really comes down to the scenario. It does. It comes down to the scenario, and it comes down, obviously, to what you have a lot of times. Robert from U.S. Grunt Gear has some incredible battle belts. I love his belts. He has them all the way from just very minimal to padded infidel war belt, which I really love. And then, of course, his plate carriers are great too. But and his standard chest rigs. Now, I do want to take. We're going to go right back to questions. I'm not going to break it, but I just want to mention, because some people come in and out. Go over to Gun Zone Deals, 7.62 by 3.9, Tula ammunition, $310 1,000 in tens. One of the best prices out there. He does have quite a bit, but here I am on YouTube talking about it. It could sell out quickly. So you want to jump over there. I do have a link over on Facebook, or you can just go to Gun Pro Deals, put in Tula. No, Gun Zone Deals. He changed it to Gun Zone Deals for a purpose. But Gun Zone Deals and put in Tula 7.62. And really, most of it's out of stock, and then all of a sudden there'll be one, and it's the tens. But I just feel like people need to get ammunition. So for your AK, for your SKS, for whatever.
Finance Andy Fresh says, hello. When building a group or community, what do you think is the best way to incorporate people with different beliefs while encouraging a respectful environment?
Well, for one thing, you got to decide what you're coming together for. You're coming together for survival. And not necessarily, like for us, we're not necessarily, now we have a place that we could bring people in if we had to, but really our thing is working together and coordinating together. So we have neighbors around that we know and like, and we have a lot of common ground. And I think that's one of the big things, is to find out what the common ground is. And, if you have different faiths, you're going to have to just, work around that. You don't want to bring all that up. But for us, we were very careful who we vetted, not because of their ability, not because of their skill necessarily, but because we knew that we had known them for a long time. We knew we could really trust them. But for an extended group, like we have networks of people that we know and we work with. But yeah, I think the big thing is getting the common grounds. What is the fear? Okay, the fear is we want to eat, we want to have water, we want to work together, we want to make sure that we have some mutual assistance if there was some kind of problem. I think politically, it's very important that you do kind of line up somewhat. If someone is a capitalist, someone's a socialist, you got a problem there. But other than that, I think, you can work through your differences. I have friends that are just about anything. I mean, you can imagine. And even someone that has beliefs that are totally different from mine, I find common ground with those people, and that's where we build our relationship through. So I think that's the most important part. What you got to be careful with is people that are a little bit agitators, or they're a little bit like control freaks, or they have some personality flaws. I think it's best to kind of keep those people at arm's length. That's just my because you don't want that inside your group to cause discord. You want to have some unity. So find your common ground, work from that, and respect each other.
Kev H asks, I have a shotgun and an AR. I want to get something else. Should I grab more ammo or a handgun?
Well, if you can find ammo, that's again the big problem. But let me tell you something. One thing about a handgun, and this is something that a lot of people, I've said this a number of times, and people can agree or disagree. In a standard just survival situation, not necessarily where they were having attacks or they were roving gangs or something like that, but if it's just a regular survival situation, the one thing about a handgun is I can pack my stuff, my bags. If I had to, I could head out, and I might not be able to carry a rifle for whatever reason. There may be, whatever, but I can carry a handgun and I can conceal it. If I'm going in and out of a store, I don't want to necessarily carry my AR-15 on my shoulder, because I may need to during a situation do. So having a handgun is very concealable. And so that is a very important thing to have. So I would highly recommend having some kind of handgun. It is a personal defense weapon. Whereas, you have your shotgun, again, you're a threat. You may get a lot of attention. And so that's one thing about having a handgun to me, that it has some advantages. To me, the thing is that for survival, handgun, shotgun, rifle, and then a 22 rifle. Those are good because you want your long range for your rifle, because if someone pins you down, if you only have a handgun and a shotgun or a 22 rifle, somebody can get about 200 yards off and they can pin you down. You can't get to them effectively. If you have a rifle, you're able to at least defend yourself, from getting pinned. And that's one of the big things about a rifle. But rifles, I have my pistol to get to my rifle, but I really need my pistol for, personal self-defense.
John Brown asks, what type of government do you think America is? I think it's imperialism.
I think it's a representative constitutional republic that's been infiltrated by deep state. I think there's globalist tendencies, and I don't think that America's imperialist for sure. I don't think that. I think that they do go into different areas, and sometimes I don't necessarily agree, but I don't know all the facts. But what I do believe is we've got the best form of government that's ever been developed in the world. And that's arguable with some, but sorry, I live here and I love this country. But we are not a democracy. We are not a freaking, if I hear one more person, a democracy is whoever's got the majority can just do whatever they want to the minority. And that's not the way it works. We have rules. We have a rule of law. And we base those rules to protect individual rights. And so that means that if I'm from, some farm, I'm a very low minority on the totem pole. I can be from Antarctica, which would be real low because there's not really anybody that's native from there. But I could be from Antarctica, be the one person, but I have basic rights that protect me as a citizen. And so we have those basic rights to protect us. And so that's, and it goes to whether you're Chinese, black, white, whatever, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. But the one thing about, yes, America's not perfect, and it's according to who's in power, but that does not really represent who we really are as a people. That's a short answer for a very complicated question.
Lady Onyx asks, hey, Sootch, would USCCA benefit someone without the concealed carry permit, like protecting someone like me with home defense if I have to use my weapon? I'm in California near city, super hard to get concealed.
Yeah, and some states they limit a lot of the legal protection. Then California may be that. You can check with USCCA. Yes, I would highly recommend having legal protection in your home. Yes, that is. I mean, honestly, I'm a concealed carry holder, but there's just as much of a chance of having some kind of home invasion or some kind of situation around my property. Also, typically, at least with a lot of states, if you're traveling, you can carry your firearm into your hotel room because that's considered part of your house. But state laws vary, and I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to get into all that. But yeah, I would definitely seek out legal protection if I have a firearm to defend myself at my home. Yes.
Orion Davis asks, I'm a fairly new prepper and I'm looking for a prepper group. Can you recommend a good way to find them? The
best way to find them, because most prepper groups kind of keep it close to the cuff, and the reason is obviously they don't want to be a target. Right now people are open. People, if they're not open, they've got their head in the sand. But people, and I don't mean doomsday prepper, zombie apocalypse prepping. I'm talking about just seeing what's going on around us. One thing that the best thing to do is to talk to family and friends. Leverage those family and friends. Talk to them. Say, hey, how do you feel about this? What do you think? Question them. You're doing an interview, but it's on the sneak. You're just saying, hey, maybe say, man, things are going crazy. I mean, we've been stocking up on some food. See what they say. Oh, that's crazy. What are you doing that for? Well, then that's not your man. But any organizations that you might be a member of, you might be a member of some association, church. Church is a great one. You could be, a gun club. You could be whatever. And just kind of talk and see what people are doing. Because I'm going to tell you, I was speaking at this event yesterday, and these ladies, a lot of them are very homesteaders even, and they're like, we're still concerned about some of the missing holes we have, and we want to form some groups and to work together and to make sure that they can help each other out in hard times. Again, people are your number one asset. So get the word out, talk to your neighbors again, talk to your friends, talk to your family, just see what you can do and then build from there, because that's the best way. If you were just to go up to some stranger and go, hey, are you want to get in a prepper group? I mean, you need to know these people somewhat before you trust them. Good luck.
Cure says, sensible prepper, you recommended at least 6 magazines for your handgun. What about extended mags? I'm not sure how many 33 Glock mags I should invest in since they are expensive.
Yeah, they can be very expensive. I personally, I have a lot of Glock fun sticks, what we call them, the 33 round magazines. And really, we kind of regulated them back to like 9mm, PDWs, the little pistol AR-15s and things like that. But really having your standard size magazines are easier to put in mag holders, easier to carry if you're going to carry, in a grid down situation or a problem where I could only carry a handgun, where I really don't want to go out and carry a rifle and I want to carry my handgun. Carrying some 33 round Glock mags up your back and hiding them, putting a jacket over it, it can be a little cumbersome. So really, I think that you're supplementing it with the 33 round mags. I think that if you're really getting into a lot of 33 round mags, you need to be switching to your rifle. Now, you may not have a rifle. You may just have a handgun and 6 mags. But yeah, anything that you can add to the 6 mags, that's a minimum to me for your go-to. Not necessarily for every handgun you have, but for your go-to handgun, having about 6 mags, especially one that is capable. I think that's a smart move. Anything you do above that is great, but just make sure you have ammo. And again,
John Brown just donated $10.
Thanks,
invest
John.
in board games. Imagine the world's longest game of hide and seek. Also, chefs are the best prepper buddies to have. Yes.
Chefs are great people that can cook. They can make things out of, what you don't know. Also, butchers are great as well. And decks of cards, because the thing is, that's one of the problems. If you have power outages or if you have disruption or you're in lockdown, you're going to get bored, especially if the power was out. So I agree. Board games and decks of cards.
Kevin Hardy asks, question, AR or AR pistol? I'd like an AR pistol for home defense, but the ATF mess is making me think I need to get an AR rifle.
I understand that. And you know what I would do at this point right now, if I was really looking for an AR, because sometimes I'm like, they are pistol AR. I mean, I've got some, so that's not a question for me. But really, honestly, at this time, I would go for the rifle. I'd go for a 16-inch rifle. And just, I mean, they're still not that big once they're collapsed, if you have a collapsible stock. But hopefully, and guys, if Biden wins, I'm telling you, we're going to see the ATF come on. And another thing they're doing is, I saw this from Jared at Guns and Gadgets. You need to check out Guns and Gadgets. He is putting out a lot of Second Amendment information, and it's just really good. The House has just started a bill, hadn't even been quite introduced yet, but they've got people signed on. That's going to give a lot more authority to the ATF, give a bigger budget, and allow them to do a lot more. Guys, if you want to vote for Biden, you're just asking, and you don't vote for Trump. And I hate it because I haven't said anything until this past couple of weeks. And I think the past 3 weeks, the first time I actually started saying, you know what, you need to be looking at voting for Trump, because Biden's website, man. So AR-15 rifle, hands down, right now.
Dakin Kenny Paso asks, how many knives are you carrying with you at all times?
I carry one in my pocket. I've got a ZT tolerance today, and I've had this one for a long time. This is a little bigger than what I typically carry, but sometimes I just like to carry something, with a little bit of pizzazz. But I typically only carry one. So I had a dream the other night, and I'll just kind of mention it's kind of funny. I was in Subway, sitting there with my wife, I guess, and because I didn't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it was her. So I'm sitting there, and this waitress comes up, which obviously waitresses aren't at Subway. And I had just finished a 6-inch sub, and she goes, "Hey, you know, would you like to get another sub?" And I said, "You know, I'm hungry. I'd like it." So I walked. She said, "Well, come with me and you can order up here." So I walked around, and I guess her boyfriend was standing there. And then all of a sudden we were in Burger King. And so when I walked by, I guess he didn't like it that I was following her to pay for another sub. And so he stuck his foot out and blocked my way. And so I grabbed his foot. And when I did, I reached and I could feel in his boot a dagger. I could just feel it. And I was getting ready to knock it out of the way. And so I moved it, and I said, if you keep messing with me, I said, I'm gonna tell everybody you got that big old knife in your boot. And then he just started staring at me. Well, I walked on around, and then I thought, I'm gonna hate to have to shoot this guy, because if he comes to me with that knife. So speaking of knives, and then I woke up, but I just thought that was interesting.
Todd Galbraith asks, if Harris does an executive order banning the importation of parts and ammo, what will the AK guys do?
Just pay a heck of a lot more for ammo for sure. Now there are some AR-15 manufacturers now here. AR-15s. They're AK manufacturers now here in the U.S. Palmetto State Armory being one of them. That they'll possibly be able to get parts. Of course, sometimes AKs can have some variants, but yeah, it would be a pain in the butt. It would be a giant pain in the butt. The other thing is one of the bills. One of the things that Joe Biden is pushing is to cease all gun advertising. No. Well, that too, but all gun sales online, ammo sales online, gun parts online, gun kits online, anything to have to do with gun parts. Going to stop that for online sales.
Nameless asks, do you guys think it will be hell in small towns if Trump wins or Biden wins?
Biden. I think if Trump wins, I think you're going to see more, and I think they like to be more effective. I don't think I'm not saying they won't, and they could. I think the thing is they found out that they're going to small towns and they're not being received as well. You've got people that have their guns and they're just not putting up with it, typically. But in the urban areas, that's where they make the biggest splash. That's where they get the news media. That's where they get their, So I think if Biden wins, I think they're going to feel empowered to do more, because really they've been able to thrive in these Democratic controlled states and cities. I think if Trump wins, they're just going to be mad and they're going to increase it to try to get momentum for their cause. So either way, I think we're going to see some problems. And reading a lot of intel seriously credible intel, they're planning disruptions regardless.
Carson Wiley asks, what are your thoughts on the Black Rain AR-15s?
They're good quality. I've had some experience, but not a lot of experience. But from everything I've heard, it's good. But here's the thing, honestly, unless somebody's really screwing things up, most of your AR-15s with the mil spec specifications, I'll put it that way. There's very few problems I ever have with being able to, most AR-15s out there, they'll run reliably, and the better the barrel is the big thing. Cold hammer forged barrel, to me, is what I like, to get that accuracy. But otherwise, they just run.
Mikhail asks, coming from Sweden, where gun, mace, or knife carry is not allowed, what would your best suggestion be?
First off, I would be into mixed martial arts big time. That's what I did for 20 years, and not mixed martial arts, but did traditional Okinawan style, and jujitsu and Shorin-ryu, taekwondo. I was trying to think what the heck, but did that for a long time. Go-juru, and then I wrestled in high school. So the big thing for me, and then my grandfather was a professional boxer, so we boxed when I was a kid. We had speed bags, and we just did, and I grew up that way. But so to me, first off, I would get hands-on experience. Now, a lot of people have physical limitations, so I would just carry what I could. I did a video on improvised weapons. Where you can take even a magazine. You can take a magazine, roll it up really tight, and it's a very effective weapon. You can use an umbrella. You can use, a pen. You can use, yes, and Ceramac came out with the best one. I would get a good flashlight. And now this is one of my EDC flashlights. I've kind of moved it up. But the thing about this light, and you can find one that'll fit your hand. If you can get your hand around here with a little bit of a crenulated bezel, or even without, you've got a battery in here, and you can use that as an impact weapon. And flashlights are used more than any other tool for self-defense. And what's even a bonus is you have light. But I would definitely think about a flashlight. You can carry these anywhere. People don't really look at them funny. And so, and then it's not necessarily a weapon. So that would probably be two things right there that would be the top of my list. And then of course, you know, in your home, you could come up with a bat or some kind of, but you know, then it's according to what the self-defense laws are in Sweden as well.
Thrivalist asks, what books and hard copies would you recommend if there is no online ability?
Well, the LDS Prepper Manual, that is one of the best. I would highly recommend getting for FOWLs the Modern Survival Guide for the Coming Economic Collapse, which is about the collapse that happened in Argentina, the economic collapse and what transpired there. And that will change your view of a lot of things about what we're dealing with right now. The Going Home series by Chris Weatherman, it is a great novel. It's like 10 books, and they're wonderful to read. They're national bestsellers, but there's just information all the way through. There's the SAS Survival Guide. That's really great. If you can find The Ultimate Sniper by John Plaster, Major John Plaster, that book it's about this thick. I don't think it's no longer being published, but it is a wealth of knowledge. There's a bunch, and in fact, I put together a list on YouTube. I think that it's on Survival Dispatch right now, the Survival Dispatch YouTube channel. We do a lot of collaboration stuff, so I do some videos on there. But there are a lot of really good books out there. In fact, there's so many. I would love to be able just to spit them off, but they're just so many. And there's, but I would go more. Well, you know, the Patriots by John Wesley Rawls and his series of books. So, but a lot of those are novels. But you know, and then of course finding information and downloading it. But I think having a well-stocked library is extremely important when it comes to having references.
Chris Baker donated $4.99.
Thank you.
No comment though.
Yes, and what we're going to do with that, and I said this at the beginning, we didn't really mean to do super chat, but we like to donate that. So I'll post it later on when we decide who we're going to donate it to. We did Meals on Wheels the first time, so thank you, Chris. But you know, the thing is, this whole thing, guys, is, you know, make sure that you do have some toilet paper. Make sure you have some canned food. Mainly because there's some possible lockdowns that may be coming. Also, in your area, if you start to have some problems, you know, if there's some agitators out there, if you're going to the grocery store and there are people just around and they're causing problems and they're stirring things up, it's best to be able to stay at home if you can. And that gives you the ability to. If you want to bring some food and make sure your water source, you know, is good. Make sure you have, with winter coming up, make sure you have some kind of alternate heat source. I really hope though, and I think that the utilities will continue, but one of the blueprints for this kind of what we're seeing with these disruptions is to disrupt utilities. So while everything's fine and you're like, well, there's no reason to worry about our electricity, you know, it could have some problems.
Miss Baird Hetherington says, been prepping for 25 plus years. Most people think I'm nuts, but when we've had our power outages, COVID, hurricanes, etc., guess where my neighbors
Good for you. That's awesome. And you're just a lot more self-reliant, and that's what America is based on. Guys, we have become way too dependent on the powers that be. And guys, when you're dependent, you are a slave to that. And man, it's convenient and it's awesome and we can enjoy whatever, but good. It's good to hear. Yeah, like I said in the video a few years ago, I said preppers are crazy, but they're not as crazy as they used to be. And before COVID-19, now we talk about COVID-19, people are like, preppers are, they're prophets.
NC Hill
Hey, Rodney.
donated $20 and says, "Go vote today."
Yes, go vote today. Thank you, Rodney. I really do appreciate it. Again, we're going to be giving that to a charitable organization. Yes,
Virgie Raff also donated $9.99 and says,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very well. Just thanks for being here, guys. You know, and I hope that it helps for you to have some encouragement. I know we've just been kind of answering questions. Again, don't forget Gun Zone deals. I'll have a link in Facebook on the Sootch Fun Gun Reviews Facebook page. In fact, there's a link for that down in the description. But 7.62 by 3.9 Tula, $310 a case of 1,000. That's some of the best. I looked on AmmoSeek, and I think 32-cent a round was the cheapest, and this is 31 cents plus shipping. But that's Gun Zone deals, 7.62 by 3.9 Tula ammunition, and right now that's a great way. And there's quite a bit, but I wouldn't hesitate too long.
Lena Woods asks, "What gun do you recommend to start a 12-year-old with?"
I would start out with 22, just to take them out, shoot some 22, and then just move them up, and but maybe, you know, a 10-22 rifle. 10-22 rifle would be wonderful, and I think Savage makes some really nice 22 rifles as well. The A22. And yeah, that's what I would do, especially with a 12-year-old, especially in according to the context you're talking about. If you're talking about giving it to them as a gift and maybe for Christmas, or you want to just start them out and give them a 22, a 10-22 is one of the best. It's the most popular 22 rifle in the world.
Duggar donated $10 and says,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then nobody else but Liv donated $5 and says, "Thank you for all you do. New to prepping, and I hope I'm not too late in the game."
No, you're never too late. You're never. And you listen, guys, when I first started my YouTube channel, and that's been 12 years ago, over 12 years ago, I remember watching videos and people going, "If you hadn't bought your food, it's too late. It's too late. You've already blown it." And people started calling me and asking me questions going, you know, what do I do? What do I do? I said, first off, breathe. Now, go out and do something. Go out and get you some food. Go out and get you some water, your toilet paper, get you some whatever. Start your journey. And everything you do, just remember that every time you go to the grocery and you buy a few extra cans, you're that much ahead of where you were the day before. You hear that? Go out right now, today, buy yourself a few extra cans of food that you eat, or order some online, whatever. But I would highly recommend get you some food, get you some water, get you a couple of gallons of water. You are that much better than you were yesterday. And then just build from there. And before long, you'll go, wow. If ammo ever comes back, go to the store, buy you a couple of boxes, put it back. Next time you get a paycheck, go buy your box of ammunition, put it back. Before long, you'll go, oh, wow, I've got some ammo. So it's just those kind of things. You don't have to do it all at once. I know we live in this instant world, but survival is survival.
Esley donated $4.99 and says, keep it up.
Thank you. Again, all that's going to a charitable organization, and I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you guys are willing to do that. I think that's just incredible. But, you know, we weren't even asking for it. We didn't know we had it turned on. Okay, so, guys, we're getting ready to sign off. It is 1 o'clock. If you don't have legal protection, now, this is an affiliate for me, just straight up. It's an affiliate, but I was a member a long time before they contacted me and said, hey, would you mind putting this up and doing some stuff, and we'll sponsor your whatever. And I said, sure. It doesn't cost you any different, and it just helps the Sootch channel. But that's beside the point. I think that you need legal protection. So get either USCCA, link down below in the description, or Legal Shield, or whatever, concealed carry insurance, whatever it is. There's different ones out there. Just get something. But USCCA, for me, in my experience, has been nothing but excellent. So USCCA, link down below. Also, Nate at Gun Zone Deals has come across a pretty good size amount of 7.62 by 3.9 Tula ammunition for $310 $310 a thousand, which is 31 cents a round. That is one of the best prices out there at this time. And the link will be on Facebook, on the Sootch Fun Gun Reviews Facebook page.
Kevin Hardy donated $4.99. Says, thanks for answering my question. Love this channel. Keep it up.
Well, you're welcome. I would have done it for free, but thank you, because that'll go to a good cause, and we'll yet to be determined. Okay, guys. Well, I really do appreciate it. We appreciate all you guys that have shown up. It's been a little different. Of course, Robbie, I know he was kind of, he thought we weren't going to have it today because of the election, and but we did. And Sarah Mack had a birthday yesterday, so she got to take the whole day off. So we did not have Patreon Live. But and if you would like to support us on Patreon Live, or on Patreon, that would be wonderful. You know, YouTube is always playing games, all the social media giants right now, especially with gun content. And we just really would appreciate it. And we do a exclusive Patreon Live on Monday nights where I do giveaways and stuff like that. It's a lot. We have a great group over there, a lot of fun. But anyway, we got a lot of cool things coming up. We're going to keep going. Guys, if you are not at least putting things back, please do. Just please consider to do that. Be safe. Stay out of those areas. Go and vote. Please make sure that you vote. But before you vote for Biden, make sure you go to his JoeBiden.com and look at his gun safety or whatever page and read it. Just read it. And then if you vote for that, then that's what you want. But that's my number one message today. And so pray for our nation. We need it more than ever. Be strong. Be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Oh, my God. What are you doing?